All right. What I'm gonna get into here is something called the um, 5 soul levels of consciousness. So, as we all know, a human being contains an animal soul and contains a divine soul, which both are to be rectified and perfected. Um, Basically, there are 5 levels of a person's soul. When a person is born, the level of a soul is Nefesh, which is the first level of consciousness. So there are 5 levels of consciousness. There's the first level Nefesh, second level Ruach, third level Neshama, fourth level Chayah, fifth level Yechidah. Fifth level is the highest. And keep in mind that when you're on the fifth level, that actually um, is like being on all levels. You have the advantages of all of them, and you can even go up and down for certain um, you could say missions in life, more fulfillment or whatever for God. So the fifth level I just want to say is called Yechidah and has a lot to do with Mesirat Nefesh, which is self-sacrifice for God, the most fulfilling of all of life. So the first one is Nefesh. Basically, on this level, a person is more confined, more focused on the physical world. Um, it has to do with a person's life force. Within it contains life force energy. So it's basically more toward the physical world. And the basic things a person's capable of here is, fulfilling basic commandments or whatever. Okay? The next level is Ruach, which primarily focuses itself on the emotional area. It's in the emotions mainly. And sure, you might use the intellect extensively, but it's mainly focused on the emotions, and that's where it works its way through. And it's more of connecting to lower levels of divine energy of God, we'll call it. So over here, a person learns to love God from the heart and build on the emotional levels. Which what I mean is, you live life from the door of the emotional perspective. You build through the emotional side. The third level, which is Neshama. Now, let's say you're on the second level, Ruach, and you're constantly building your life through an emotional structure, let's say, right? You build enough, you automatically hit these emotional areas instead of thinking on what to do. It's more like, rehearsing, and when you're at a play, you already know your way because you're emotionally familiar with it, and you're just like a machine that already does its next step. So Neshama, when you reach the third level, which is Neshama, this has to do a lot with the intellect. Primarily focuses on the intellect, and you're exposed to so much of the divine light and complete love of God on this level. Ruach is not fully focused on the complete love of God in an energetic language, so to speak. On Neshama, it is primarily focused from the intellect. And let's say you focus on a certain divine concept. So this teaches on this level, the teaching is that all of the senses is temporarily uh, not enforced, is nullified temporarily. So this is a very high level to be on, which most people are usually not on today. Um, so that's that. The fourth level, Chayah, which the main concept of Chayah is that you know how to delve in to the truth, because on this level contains the knowledge of truth of all. So I guess in simpler terms, it's it's complete refusal to enforce one's ego. Now, that's complete nullification of one's ego. Now, when you get your ego under control, and as high as you go, your ego gets higher. The higher you become as a person, the better you become as a person, your ego gets higher. You could notice anything that might put your ego down. So the idea here is when you have self-nullification of the ego, complete refusal to enforce one's ego, you start to understand it wasn't you that just built yourself to be however, but mainly God helped you, and you start to know how. So over here, you have the ability to find many answers, which is the manifestation of the knowledge of truth of all. Over here, you're able to dig into a lot of things and know lots of information, especially divine information. So on this level, by the way, Chayah and Yechidah, branches together. And speaking of the highest level, Yechidah, now, it is very possible to, let's say, from the first soul level, Neshama, to jump all the way to Yechidah. It's not easy, but it requires self-sacrifice of God, not just a part of your life, not to be misinterpreted with anything bad or obnoxious, like many religious leaders like to project on this level. Nothing negative, strictly pure, where it feels right, where it is right, really, in simple terms. This level has to do, the idea of this level is, let's say there's a fire and a candle, right? Let's say the human is a body. The soul is a fire. This fire is a part of God. Let's categorize God in a way as a fire. You're so at one with God that there's no separation, there's no difference. That's how one you are with Him. That's the level of the soul. The soul being the fire and the candle being the body, and God being the fire. How do you attain this level of consciousness? Is complete self-sacrifice for God. Now, everything you do is for God, is one of the ideas. One of the ways is martyrdom for the sake of God, like if somebody says, in front of, whatever, they say, bow down to an idol, worship it, or they'll kill you, right? So one, you can either fight and kill them, defend yourself, or person dies in martyrdom, he attains the highest level. Now, attaining this level is one self-sacrifice for God, 2, His Torah, 3, His people. And this level contains all levels. You can go up and down. Just like the Torah says, a righteous man falls 7 times, gets back up. A wicked man falls once, doesn't get back up again. Now, when a person goes down levels, or falls down, or goes down, he connects with people who already went down there, or people on those levels too, and it helps them make the pathway up to where they're supposed to be in life. Self-fulfillment, you can say, which is really good, spiritual self-fulfillment. So this is the main idea. Yechidah is when you completely go God's way, and there's no difference. You're like God as much as you can be, and you're at one with God, basically, and there's nothing besides God, which is the way of life in this level.